of Alcorn State University, had plans to move to Seattle before his passing. But his daughter married a student of his of Hiram Rose Rebels at Alcorn State, who had moved to Seattle and founded the Seattle Republican, the second most widely read newspaper of the time, black or white. Hiram Rose Rebels, the first black senator in the United States and from Mississippi, his daughter married Harry Caton, moved to Seattle. She becomes the first female publisher and editor in the Pacific Northwest. Not black female, first female. They were one of the most prominent black families, and they lived in what is now Capitol Hill. There's a nomination and it's gone through that will designate their home as a historical site. And I learned this from the journalist that I was speaking with who actually made the nomination for this home to be. But I just learned that last week. I came back here like, we gotta change the label. Because it's important that we share this, because we have to know how connected we are to all of you. And that's what we hope you feel. This is for all of us. This is, you heard my mom say, this is an American story. This is a world story. And what I say is, just imagine the world without black folks. Can you do that? Bet you can't do that. So, with that inherently says that we've contributed mightily, and we continue to contribute mightily. And you'll see even more right now with the main event. My father, whose passion for our people is unbridled, just is brimming at all times. And he's been fighting in so many different ways, fighting the good fight in so many different ways. And so it was natural that this is now the evolution of it all, you know? But I don't want to take any more time. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Enjoy.
All right, I got the sniffles, I tell you. Sitting down and listening to the two people you love the most, and then talking about the thing that you love the most that we do every day, which is extolling the values and the wonderful contributions of our people. So thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. Let's start there. Let me just kind of capture myself for a minute. Okay. Kind of exhale a little bit. Thank you. A little tissue would help.
Hey, Pop, if you don't mind, I forgot one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Larry Earl, my brother, he's in here somewhere. I keep forgetting to mention him. Larry is my right and left hand in this with exhibitions. He's a career museum professional and just has become just a dear friend and a great help. But we always say, if we ever in a foxhole and gotta choose who we're in there with, I'm gonna choose him. So wherever you are, thank you, brother.
Before I start, I gotta just brag on my son. So this is Khalil and Taryn, front page of the LA Times, a month or so ago.
Man's back there.
And where's Taryn? Is he here? Oh, he's in the park. So let me say this. Before you leave, you buy a book, okay? It's really the only book that black folks own there, every page. Secondly, we are Khalil and Taryn and Taylor and Umi with etc. Have a pop-up shop with all kinds of Kinsey, Tam, etc. merchandise that they put, and this is the first time we've done it. So not only support it, but take some home with you. And I think you'll find that'll be quite unique. But I am just so proud of this young man. So this is the front page of the LA Times, talk about the Natural Action Wine Club. And it's a full page. Look at this, and then it keeps going. All right? So the LA Times, then the New York Times, call it, the Washington Post, the Santa Barbara paper, And now, food and wine, that's right, it just happened with food and wine. So, you know, and this is career kind of part-time, you know, because full-time we do the Kinsey collection. You know? So, just really, really proud. What Khalil and Terry and these people are doing is just trying to integrate the wine business through setting up this subscription program where scholarship money will go to black people to go to colleges to learn wine. You want to say something like that?
You're just distorted in this microphone.
Am I?
I think you're gonna have to, unfortunately.
All right, well then I will do that. Why don't you cut me off here then? I'm ready to go.
Love it. Yes.
We won, okay. All right. You ready, Anthony? Let's go. Where's win? Okay, all right, let's go. You got it over. Okay, all right.
Let me know if you want me to do the clicking or.
Okay, all right. So, let me start this way. All right. Let me start this way. Seeing the Kinsey collection is like taking castor oil. Everybody needs it. Nobody wants to take it. But you're better after you have it. And that's what you're going to get today. All right? Because we're going to flush some of that foolishness that all of you got. Okay? And what Khalil said about learn, use, teach, the second principle of the Kinsey collection is management by FACTS. Management by facts. Everything in the Kinsey collection is authentic. We didn't make it up. We don't abridge it. We tell you just read it. And when you read something that was written firsthand, you gotta believe that it happened. Okay? And that's what we do starting in 1595. So, for all my FAMU friends, Xerox friends, Omega friends, Delta friends, all of our friends from Florida, our 70-some friends that came in from all over the United States for this weekend. Wayne Williams, one of my special friends from Xerox days, and the first guy I called when I said we were coming to Tacoma, I called Wayne, because I knew Wayne would lay, well, first of all, he'd make sure I would ride the right road. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna get right into it. Shirley, the best part of my day and night, right there. Good 4 years. And Khalil Kinsey, you just knocked it out of the park with this show. To the curatorial staff, to all of the Katie here, just everybody involved, David Setford, the board. We had a wonderful day. We went to Vashon Island yesterday. Let me tell you about Vashon. Okay, we went to Vashon Island today about 60 Vashon? No, I ain't. I'm not from Vashon. But, so we go over on this yacht. Kim and Matt Bergman, really unbelievable people. Supported, and they opened their home up to Tam and the board, and then David invited, told us that we could bring some friends. Now, people, when you tell the Kinseys to bring their friends, because we come with a lot of friends. I don't know how many, about 60, 70 people. So check this out. About 60 black folks. And I said it to them that day, so we had a little presentation. I said, the Chamber of Commerce just called me. And they said, Mr. Kinsey, there are more black people here on Vashon Island than any time in the history. So we had a lot of fun. Okay. All right. So one of the biggest successes in my life is my marriage. I tell everybody, if you get that right, you can't hardly mess up the rest of it. Okay? Because good things will accrue. God, grant me a gift to give it to someone else that needs it more than me. I want everybody to say that. God, grant me a gift to give it to someone else that needs it more than me. That is how I try to live every day. Okay? These blessings that God continues to bestow on us, you can't hold on to them. It's like playing baseball and you got two gloves on your hand. You got to throw the ball back. If you don't throw the ball back, the game stops. And that's what people that have a lot of resources, they do. They want all the balls. Well, then you can't have all the balls. You got to share. And what we try to do is to share everything we do. Alexander the Great has a great saying he told his troops, and this is the great line. He told them, when I die, bury my hands outside of the casket, because I want everybody to know that I carried nothing with me. Sit on that for a second. Sit on that for a second. And then nobody in this room is going to take anything with you. So you got to share more. You got to be a blessing to other people. And that's what Shirley and I have always tried to do. Our good friend Ron Brown has a saying, leave the door open and the ladder down. Let's everybody say that. Leave the door open and the ladder down. There's another saying, if you see a turtle on a post, he had help. You know, now you go, look here. I want you to get pen and paper out, because I'm going to drop some nuggets on you. And you're going to say, what did he say? All right? If you see a turtle on a pole, he had help. And guess what? Everybody in this room had help. So the idea that you did all of this by yourself is just foolishness. So what you have to do is to reach back and say, leave the door open and the ladder down. Let's say it. Leave the door open and the ladder down. If you only take but one thing out of here today, that's one I want you to take out of here. And here's another one. People don't care how much you know until they know that you care. You hear me? People don't care how much you know until they know that you care. And our family cares deeply. Deeply about not only what we do, but our community and this country, and trying to write the narrative to make it better. And you know, ain't none of this, and we haven't even got to the slide. But you all came to hear this today, so guess what? I'm going to give it to you. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but a life without purpose and vision. Sit on that for a second. The greatest treasures in this world are not the companies that make up the New York Stock Exchange, the oil wells in the Middle East, but all of the cemeteries all over the world are full of people who died with potential. So we're asking you, and part of what we do in our lectures, I think we've probably done 60,000 to 70,000 people with the Miss Babson, is, yes, we're going to talk about black folks and history, but what we're really talking about is motivating you to do more. To do more. Okay? To get busy. To get busy. To use what God has given you. We say we all have a hole in the heart. And that hole is, I don't know who I am, and I don't know where I came from. And the only way to connect that is to fill it with information, and you'll find your purpose. And when you find your purpose, you'll have the energy to be able to execute your dreams. And once you execute one dream, you're good to go. So that's part of today, okay? And you know where we get this from? Is this beautiful exhibition that Khalil and the staff have done. You just have to know that people that did what they did, Nancy Prince goes to Russia in the 1840s with 20 black people and stayed for 20-some years because a businesswoman with the Tsar of Russia. You just can't even make that up. We got the book, 6th edition of this system, out of Boston. I mean, remarkable. So you have to assume that this system's supposed to be Russian, right? Right? See, because none of this is really, see, what we love about this work is you just have to be intuitive. You say, well, Denmark and probably supposed to speak Danish. You follow me? But black folks spoke every language of every country in this world. And that's why our patois is so powerful. Okay? But we brought it, we made it into our language. We're bidialectal. You follow me? We speak white folks English, and then we speak black folks English. And both of them okay. It just, I tell brothers, I say, look, if you're coming into Xerox, you're probably going to raise that up a little bit, you know? But when we kicking it outside, you can go into the other, you can go into the vernacular. Right? That's what it is. Because we're all trying to say, we want to keep your culture, okay? So, Lil, I'm gonna move what?
Let's get it.
Lil said, Dad, this is good, but you gotta get him into the stuff. So what do I want to do here? Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. I'm telling you, just look at these black folks. Sure thinks I lived in the 19th century. You understand? Because I just appreciate these people and what they did. Right? Okay. All right. This is what the Kinsey Collection is about. We strive to give our ancestors a voice, name, and personality. We want to stop making them anonymous. Okay? And people that don't matter, because they matter. And I want each of you to start saying that they matter. And go back into Tacoma and Seattle and find people that have been discarded and do something about it. Okay? And do something about it.
Yes.
Now, this is the thesis of the Kinsey Collection. In America, your skin speaks before you do. It's a simple premise, and it says everything you want to know about America. Okay? Because America only works on color. The darker you are, the more difficult it is to be in America. Just that simple. I tell my Egyptian and Indian friends, you black. You may not believe it, but just go try to catch a cab late at night and see who's gonna pick you up. You follow me? Because America don't look and see if you got a dialect from India or Egypt. They just see you as black. Or a police officer that pulls you over, they pull you over because you're black. So let's be real about this, okay? This is a good one here. African Americans have always been the symbolic litmus test for the viability of American democracy. Symbolically represent the distance between the ideals of America versus the actual practices of America. And check this out. It defines everything about America. It defines who's a citizen, who votes, who works, who goes to jail, who gets health care, who has wealth, and who lives in the ghetto. Nothing could be more true than this statement. Because America works in duality. It's a bifurcated society. We have these ideas of the city on the hill, but we really don't believe that. All men are created equal. We really don't believe that. And everything we've done has made that bifurcation more pronounced. And what happened with the Black Lives Matter movement last summer is equal to what happened with the Civil Rights Movement and Reconstruction. We began to change the narrative. We have to keep on it though. We have to stay on it. It's not a summer event. And then you go back, to your business. Here are the 3 P's. Prejudice, power, and privilege. Prejudice is skin color. The blacker you are, the more difficult it's going to be an American, because America, they don't appreciate black folks. You follow me? They tolerate me because I got gray hair now. You follow me? And I'm light skinned. I understand that. But I catch hell too, the same way. But I understand how this system works. So prejudice is what's operating in this country all the time through racial profiling. Anytime someone tells you that they don't racially profile, you tell them that I ain't accepting. I hear people tell me, I say, come on. You know the difference between blue and red. You follow me? Yellow and black. You gonna tell me you can't tell the difference between a black person and a white person? You follow me? So what we're saying really is, don't accept some of that foolishness. Because they're not coming to you the right way. Okay? All right, power is the power of the state, the city, the county, the federal government to enforce the president. And I'll show you what that means. That means all these black boys and girls and brown boys and girls going to jail at rates that are just extraordinary. That rival what happened in Jim Crow. Okay? It's just another form of the same thing. And then the last one is privilege. The privilege of being white in America works all the time. I tell white people all the time, I say, you got a pretty good deal. You really do. You can drive your cars, ain't nobody gonna stop you. Because they're arresting all the black folks. I ain't got time to get to you. You can get a loan when you want. You can live anywhere in the city you want. You can sell your house to anybody you want. You can vote without any problems. You can even carry water to the vote booth. They tell black folks you can't have no water. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's what privilege is. We have another way to say privilege. Privilege is like being born on third base and thinking you hit a triple. Sit on that for a second. Okay? Being born on third base and thinking you hit a triple. Because most white people think they did all this on their own. I said, come on, man. Are you kidding me? You got this inheritance. They figured out that black people in the 1860s, 4 million black people picking cotton, their labor was worth $4.7 trillion. And where were we going to get that? The 160 acres we didn't get was another 2.8 trillion. So the deficit in America is still unpaid, okay? And we want to get paid. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way we're going to have a society that believes that freedom and equality are the same. Right now, freedom ain't equality. We got freedom in 1865. We don't have equality now, okay? And I'm talking to a guy I got a lot of money. You know what I mean? Shirley and I have done well. We retired about 30 years ago. I ain't asking nobody for nothing. But do you know what I did? I told Shirley, I said, baby, two things we're going to do. We're going to support black folks, and we're going to make a lot of money. Because if you don't make a lot of money in this country, you got a problem. What they do is shut you up.
Right.
And no one's going to shut us up. Because we believe in what we do. Oh, they'll tell you, when we didn't have any money, I still said the same thing. You know? All right. This says it all here. White male college graduates are employed 97.6% of the time. Black male college graduates, 92.8% of the time. So the difference between being a white male and a black male with the same degree is basically about a 5% differential, okay, in terms of employment. But check this out. But if you got a white male with little college, no degree, you're within 3/10 of a person with a college education. That never changes. That never changes. You can get a master's, you can get a PhD. It never changes because of systemic racism associated with salaries. Okay? This is unconscionable. 2.3 million black folks in jail because we decided that we were going to criminalize black life. I said yes. Criminalize black life. Okay? Standing on the street corner, that came out of slave codes in the South. Same problem here. You stand on the corner in Tacoma or LA, first thing the police officer say, what are you doing on the corner? Well, I'm holding up the light post. You know, I mean, I'm just kicking it. Next thing you know, you're in jail. We have to make the police part of the community rather than the occupying force. And they're occupying force right now, okay? They over-police the black community, and you'll see that, okay? 70 million black folks with a restaurant. 6 million on probation, which means you can't go. You're not gonna get a job. You know what I mean? And oftentimes this is for no more than traffic stops. Okay? The racial violence in this country from 1900 to 1960. We had a 2 exhibition in Tulsa. Tulsa, it just blows you away. In 16 hours, whites decided they wanted to wipe out the black community. They burned 35 square blocks, 10,000 people homeless, 1,600 businesses. You follow me? In 16 hours, no one has ever been arrested for that. And even today, people deny that it happened. Okay? The myth of absence. Khalil did a great job with the myth of absence. The myth of absence says, and this is the undergirding of the Kinsey collection. It says that we as black people are invisibly present. We are invisibly present, which means we're here, we're just not part of the story. We're not part of the picture. We're not part of the dialogue in this country. Khalil was saying, it's like having a prom picture and they Photoshop you out. That's exactly what they did. It's like going to this graveyard and all of these gravestones and there's no names on any of them. And you know doggone well these people contributed, okay? We want you to have a new vocabulary. Anytime you see the word, discovered, I want you to strike it out. How are you going to discover something that was already occupied? Because everything about America was already occupied when, quote, Columbus and Ponce de Leon came here and took it, okay? And took it, okay? Mercantilism is a good, simple word for kidnapping. And that's what happened to 12 to 15 million black people. Our ancestors right here. Anytime you use the word slave, strike it out and say enslaved. Everybody say enslaved. Enslaved. Say it again. Enslaved. And I want you to put that deep in your heart. Stop using that word. Nobody woke up in Africa one day and said, you know what? I'm just going to give up my life. And I'm not going to worry about it because I want to let my kids, they're going to just work the rest of their lives and their kids and their kids' kids. If you look at it that way, it's just stupid, right? That's the way we have to look at things. We have to look at it from a black perspective. That's all what Khalil and Margaret all did. Everything about the Kinsey collection, we take it and we give you a black perspective. Okay? Matter of fact, we have a saying, if you understand African American history, for the first time, you'll have 20/20 vision. Sit on that for a second. Because otherwise, you walk around with cataracts. And not just white people, black people do. But black people don't know this either, okay? Because they swallowed the pill. What we're saying is, you gotta understand this history. It's not his story, it's history, okay? And then the last one was plantation. We go to plantation. Every time you see the word plantation, just say prison. So when you see, Clark Gable coming down this beautiful staircase, I mean, it's just so crazy, And the reality is that everything about that house was done by black people. Everything. Architecture, carpentry, silversmith. Follow me? Everything. And it's like we didn't exist. It's like we didn't exist. So every time you hear the word prison, strike it out. And let me tell you what, you won't like those plantations as much as you think. Okay? Because the connotation is real. Because the prison that our people were born on, they died in that same prison. That same acreage. Okay? All right. This is Africa, 1501. This is the slave trade. Phil did a good job on this yesterday. I was listening to your son. I'm learning something from my son, too. I'm loving this. The trade winds brought the slave ships to wherever they ended up. So the 9 different countries that practiced slavery, none of them knew exactly where they were going, because if you took people down in West Central or here, the current would take you north or the current would take you south. Okay? So a lot of people came to to Brazil, like 5 million of the 12 to 15 million came to Brazil. Now, if you go to Brazil right now, most people are African, and they know it, okay? And they own it. And this is Argentina, the River de Plata. You follow me? The River de Plata in 1848, 52% of Buenos Aires was black. Guess what? Over a period of 100 years, they lightened the population. Cuba did it, Bogota did it, Peru did it, Mexico did it. You know what they did? They opened up immigration. So they bring in white people, Europeans, and they intermarry, and they just squeeze and squeeze. They send the men off to war, and they ghetto wives to kill children. And over a few generations, you basically marginalize the community. And that's what happened from Patagonia all the way up, okay? Do I hit the button?
It should go. It should go.
Okay.
Give it a second.
You see how I take it. This is Thomas Clarkson, 1808. There's a film embedded in here.
Try it. Not a film, but
So,
one more time.
okay.
Keep talking though.
Okay, all right. Well, this is how our people came.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go. All right. Well, it's amazing when you do what you asked to do. Look at this. How many of you heard of fictive relationships? With the word fictive. Fictive means not blood, but family. So black people came in these boats, many of them from different tribes. Most of the time, 2 to 3 months. 30% of the ships never made it to their destination. Sharks followed the slave ship from Africa to the Americas because they knew they would eat. At least 20% of black people committed suicide because they resisted slavery on the slave ship. So it wasn't, I hear this thing, well, black people, we treated them good. They were doing all right. Nothing could be further from the truth. Okay? Some female slave shackles from the 1850s. I love this. Jamestown, 1607, but there was a sister in St. Augustine in 1595 getting baptized. And Shirley would say, yes, we got dibs here. We didn't all come here as enslaved people. You follow me? Augustine Fres's sister. That's what I love about this. The Spanish kept records and they recorded names, which meant that we know these people had a life. Now, if you were being married in 1598, that meant you probably had parents. You know where these people came from? They came from the Menendez expedition in 1565. Menendez, we said, discovered, we said, no, conquered St. Augustine in 1565, and he had black folks on that ship. Now, you say, well, any of these black folks